was sleeping in a car being homeless, and I've had better sleeps. I had to contend with the street lights and happened to be a full moon. It's just my life. Probably the worst thing was fear of being caught by passers-by. A lot of people tend to walk around at night, and as you can see, I don't have tinted windows. I guess it's a question of who's stalking who. A little bit like in India. It felt like a zoo, but you never knew who was the one behind the cage. So it's the second morning of being homeless, and yeah, I feel pretty close to nature. Last night it rained all night, and it was quite peaceful, very uneventful actually. And the previous night there was a full moon, which I probably would have missed if I was still in my apartment, cocooned in my apartment, as it were. Yeah, and I feel quite free because every night I can move to a new location, and it's summer here, and the next really hot night I plan to sleep by the sea, so looking forward to that. But my initial reason for doing this project was I guess to highlight the absurdity of house prices in Australia at the moment. Australia and New Zealand have the most expensive house prices relative to income anywhere in the world at the moment. And yeah, the median multiple, which is a commonly used measure to compare house prices, is the average house price is 7 times the median salary in Australia, whereas 20 to 30 years ago it was only 3 times the median salary. So house prices have absolutely actually relatively tripled in 30 years. So the proportion of monthly income spent on mortgages has almost tripled. So it's quite expensive in other Western nations at the moment also. Multiples of 6 aren't uncommon, but Australia has the highest rate, so Firstly, it's a way to save money, and secondly, I guess, well, one person out of the rental market is maybe not going to make much of a difference, but I guess if you get enough people doing the same thing, then yeah, we could precipitate, excuse the pun, some change. So I'm wearing a disguise at the moment. I've got the sunglasses on to disguise the fact that I'm sleeping. Well, not right now, but I have been sitting upright, sleeping, with my seatbelt on, as if I'm about to drive away at any minute. Yeah, disguising the fact that I'm homeless. I read a Meta quote. He wrote Maximum City about Mumbai, that homelessness defines you, if in fact you are homeless. Before you were a man, before you were a Melburnian, you were homeless. I don't think that's true. Society treats you as abnormal, so you tend to repress the fact. Which is not to say that it can't define you, but I just feel like that if it did begin to define me, then I would stop being free, and the project would be a failure, I guess. I prefer to think of myself as a philosopher before I think of myself as a homeless person.
Mooching, thieving, the vagabond, and then there was another category classed as the entrepreneur. A lot of houses are empty during the day because a lot of people, a lot of couples work 9 to 5. So I was going to see if I could find such a couple or such a person and rent their house out for next to nothing during the day and sleep during the day.
I was busting for a piss. I settled upon a less than adequate solution. And eventually someone yelled out, go away. But she kept knocking, saying she had to go to the toilet. And, he was thinking, or he was probably thinking, and I was thinking that, this seems like a setup for a burglary. And yeah, she kept saying she needed to go to the toilet. And I was saying, come on, let's let's go down the street. So he knew that there was two of us, and there was only one of him, by the sounds of things. And eventually he opened up the door, which had a security lock, so that it only opened 10 centimetres. And he pointed a gun at us and said to get the hell away. Which of course we did. I no longer have a nappy rash, so that's good. Masturbated in the showers at work. Yeah, I guess it's one thing you take for granted. Yeah, even just having a little bit of privacy. Yeah, I guess you miss it. So I was thinking about grace and how you act when no one's watching. I feel like there's always someone watching me, or there always could be someone watching me. So yeah, maybe I'm kind of acting like they're religious and becoming graceful for the wrong reasons. I was remembering what I said the other day about being a philosopher more than a homeless person. But I don't know, it reminded me of the end of the Tracticus, when he said something about throwing away the ladder once you've climbed it, and I kind of think that's the ultimate lesson of Wittgenstein. Yeah, just I don't know, something about striving to overcome philosophy, to live. Yeah, he said something about do we know everything we know simultaneously? Yeah, I don't know. Which I guess it's a question of our identity. My favourite artist is the Frenchman. It's probably from the 70s, who desisted as a radical act. I guess you could say he began a form of non-creation, or he just threw away the ladder and just began to be. The dog was watching over me last night. He was the sentinel at the foot of my door, and he slept there all night, keeping watch. So I felt extra safe locked inside our house with the guard dog. It's ironic that I'm doing this project, focusing so heavily on my car. I never had a car for years, and a lot of my projects are actually based around pollution. And I remember a few years ago, if I was ever crossing the road and a car would pull up at a stop sign, and he would wave me through, and I would just give him a dirty look for driving. Now here I am living in my car and driving away for the weekend willy-nilly. So the mangroves used to grow in the water just behind me. Until people thought that they could make the beach more useful. It was like in Mumbai, there's a river that flows into the sea there, and there were a big area of mangroves on the bank. They got rid of the mangroves to put up more apartments, obviously, and so now whenever the river floods, as it's wont to do, it doesn't have the mangroves to soak up all the water, so whole parts of the city get flooded. Even if it's not known what the function of something is, there's no reason to just cut it out. I want my appendix back and my adenoids. Maybe one day I'll get a tonsil transplant and things will be okay. So I slept at a truck stop last night, just at the end of this pier, which is totally legal, as trucks have a function in society. And what I liked about India was even though the lack of laws led to problems of pollution, in fact putridity, I liked that it felt like a real ecosystem. I had a dream that I was fucking my oldest friend. But I couldn't come. I think because my cock was all scrunched up. So I don't have freedom yet. In my dreams, I'm not killing people just yet. Here I am, still practicing pickup lines in the mirror, talking of conversations, elaborating on signs. Speaking of senseless propositions. Solipsism. But that's what I like about art. You don't need to be prescriptive. I was volunteering yesterday to collect mangrove seeds for a friend for a regeneration project, and him and his wife let me stay at their house back in Melbourne. And here is a drawing I gave to them as a gift for their wedding. And funnily enough, it's actually called mangroves. I guess as the quantity of your actions increases, the level of synchronicity, serendipity, chance encounters increases, but at the same time the quality is diminished. And I'm aware after Craig Owens, the ethics of speaking for another, but here it is from last night. You can stay with us anytime. Me. Yeah, thanks. We have a spare bedroom. Me. So tonight? Not tonight. I need to check with my housemates. So here I am in a company's car park, the safest place to be, as long as there's no surveillance. Nice try. Probably unchecked security footage is the best to hope for. Yeah, people are so prudish. If that's the word. Maybe priggish. Prim. To let the expectations of another dictate their own liberty. This is actually speaking for another.
I started off being more free and just recording the thoughts off the top of my head, and now I seem to be getting more and more scripted. But I just wanted to look up the uncanny, and I have this quote. The uncanny is what unconsciously reminds us of our own id, our forbidden and repressed impulses perceived as a threatening force by our superego, ridden with Oedipal guilt as it fears symbolic castration by punishment for deviating from societal norms. And that was the last bit that caught my attention. So it's basically beyond what is normal or expected, and I think it touches upon the fears that are elicited whenever I mention that I'm doing this homeless project. For arousing superstitious dread seems to ring a bell. And I had another word which was staid, someone who is settled or sedate, not flighty or capricious. And the antonym was wild. I wonder whether the other words that I considered relating to my friend actually relates to myself, and I'm the conservative one, and the only reason I'm doing this project is because I really want to be at home and snug. Well, that's a Freudian reading, and I read this Zizek book, and there was a quote about homelessness, which maybe a Kantian quote, just that philosophy was a form of homelessness. I think because you're forever striving to get back home. Now, I'm starting to wonder whether whether there really is such a thing as a home, and I'm sleeping in a different location every night, but it feels comfortable. I think if it was more accepted, then I wouldn't mind being homeless so much. It's just the paranoia
the fear of being watched or being caught. But, yeah, I mean, another strand of this project was doing a diary, and the only other time I've kept a diary was 20 years ago, when I decided after a few years to burn them, because I feared that my mother would be reading my secrets.
Yeah, like hacking down his trees. Yeah, I suppose anything to just, save a few dollars extra
And
for travelling.
I heard you had it looking pretty good.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I'm a gardener, so that's what I do. It's my thing. Yeah.
And because I mean, they didn't exactly have much grass to.
No, they didn't. No, that's a good point. No, just a lemon tree.
So you ate some lemons.
Well, I helped them a lot.
For the rent.
I helped them a lot more by actually pissing on their lemon tree, which I was told which was like a good thing for it. Usually when I, have been pissed, so that was fun. I enjoyed doing that more than the gardening. I suppose it depends who the people are when you move in at the beginning. If they're friends that know you and they know that you can trust you, and there's no, you're not taking the piss too much, then I think that would be okay.
Yeah.
But not throwing 2-day benders and stuff, and turn the place into like Hugh Hefner's, Playboy Mansion sort of thing, which wouldn't happen in Brunswick anyway. But
1.5 day benders are okay.
yeah, you know, at least a good day into the night, and then into the morning again, and out by about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Get that cash, get that envelope, and it's
That was the first some of my friends had met you. We just picked you up and you were stealing money out of someone's post mailbox.
You don't know whose mailbox it is. It's just like you're driving, going, yeah, I've met him a couple of times. But well, what's he doing now? He's like,
his wallet's pretty big.
Just lock the doors.
Also, not to be settled, for me, seems to spark a certain creativity, not only in how I create my life, but also my ideas for drawing, my ideas for films. You are able to slip into imaginary or other people's lives more easily, rather than being stuck in your daily routine, going back to the same old place. You have more things and angles to think about and to think of, I suppose. Yeah. I kind of find interesting, because it means that you have to have your home inside yourself, in your own head. No. I think if I'm trying to answer this question as truthfully as I possibly can, there are a few dreams that keep on recurring in a few locations in my dreams, and I would probably call them the closest to home as I can think of. Yeah, definitely.
And like, there's no guilt associated with sleeping in your car, is there? Where, I don't know. For me, having a home gives me the freedom to do what I want. Like, if I want to have a shower, I can go and have a shower. If I want to make some toast, I can make toast. If I want to watch telly, I can watch telly. I might sacrifice other freedoms, but I have the freedoms that are important to me.
Toast and telly.
Toast and telly. I don't know whether I was necessarily fearful for your security. I think it was more the unknown, that, well, how can you not have a house, I think it still seems like a strange thing to do, because it's not normal. It's not a normal thing for us. Like, everyone I know lives in a house. So, where do you park your car?
Yeah, so I slept in my tent last night. We camped at a music festival, Meredith Music Festival. And I wonder whether I decided to come so that I could easily kill 2 nights of this project. Yeah, it was, I got a bit too stoned. So... That's more how I felt last night. I've been pretty slack in keeping this diary. But funnily enough, I went and saw a neurologist the other day for some headaches, and she mentioned a diary would be a good idea. I don't think I'll bring the film in, have a screening for our next session, but yeah, forces are conspiring to have this film completed, kind of like a vortex. And I hope, like Moby Dick, there will be a survivor or two. I mean, I opened the drawer up before, and there was a fable about a beakless sparrow who meets a homeless man, and she knew he was homeless because he was muttering to himself, and he had scraggly hair, of course. He ends up sharing his beard, bread, with her, and they become friends, and she nestles in his scraggly hair for the night. And one of the paintings in the background is also one of mine. Yeah, it's called Intractable Spaces Redeemed, maybe, which I thought was quite relevant, possibly. I was walking the dog earlier, payment for the house, and she was sniffing everything inside. My friend said that it's equivalent for the dog of reading a newspaper, which made me think of WikiLeaks. Yeah, the dog re-enchanting its world with its traces. The Earth's atmosphere scatters the light frequencies, except for the red, so you end up with the pink moon. But there was enough pink at the party. Pink lights, pink hats. My gift was a bottle of red.
epistemology today is one of cover-up, but of our knowledge as well as our ignorance. We hide in houses. Fate is directed by ex-best friends. We join bands never to play. We quit our jobs to become day traders, hunter-gatherers. Fucking death. Fucking death. I love whoever Lacan says the abridged world wants me to love. So it's these headaches, or more precisely the split. It's non-membership of subjectivity, kaleidoscopic space bleeding. I was at a party the other night and a woman dived into my beard. And a bird flew out of a cupboard, only to be trapped in a house. So my self-diagnosis was fungal meningitis. And whatever it is, there's definitely a parasite living in my head. So why not experience the social differential of health directly? Class mortality, anguish friends, keep the ultimate secret from your family. This death instinct, this suicide mission, risking infection, sleeping by open sewers, the Halliburton diet, drinking from dripping water pipes, overcrowding, absolute poverty. What did I have to lose? If, according to Foucault, the past nosology was a visual one of discovery, analysing the symptoms and reading the signs. Well, under today's burgeoning healthcare costs, it is a stochastic one, more akin to a cover-up. Patients disguise the fact of their insubordination via online knowledge bases. They feign respect. They hide the economic scars the body very nearly betrays. Whilst the doctor projects the image of total knowledge with their tone and attenuates the fear of malpractice. But it is no longer a doctor-patient relationship, but an insurer-doctor-patient relationship. So, the lumbar puncture procedure performed since the 19th century suddenly becomes too risky in the 21st. But a barrage of tests will be performed to give the patient the illusion of comprehensiveness. So we become addicts, gay, homeless, any lie that corroborates the fuck-up line that statistically increases the chance of AIDS, cholera, an aneurysm. It is the one time where being different may now save our lives. My parents' home, the place I call home, that shifting signifier, that dynamic spaghetti code, that black hole where no information passes the threshold. No art is ever created. No friends come and visit. No friends are visited. No news is broadcast. Benjamin's porosity is zero. Null in fact.
outside of time. Historical time, at least. So we can just be
Peter's taking me to some Greek club tonight.
So this film Head On
Do you ever go? Yeah, sometimes.
was made while we were living in this
It is,
house, and there's a scene in it of our house. That's our pillow. It's our house.
I'm going out with some friends.
It's my housemate's room.
Maybe we'll come later. Do you ever go?
It's our local.
Yeah,
It's our
sometimes.
garden.
You be there tonight? Out with some friends.
It's our neighbour's house. Housemate's room.
Maybe we'll come later. Sure. Thanks for walking me. That's cool.
And that's our tram stop.
Hey, Ari!
Hurry.
Hey, Ari! That guy from the Grifters, you know, what's his name? John Cusack. That's it!
Our house.
I love that fucking
House.
film.
House.
The sclerotic tradition of property becomes inaccessible due to its normative prevalence, and it conceals the wellspring of its origins, the homeless adventure for which you must risk physical monstrosity. It veils its own groundlessness. Creating is limited to childhood cubby houses, adolescent adventure clubs. We choose between 1,000 shades of beige. A phenomenological study of the home, a bringing into daylight, does not mean an implosion. Walls, blinds, paintings fake windows. A covering up is its raison d'etre. According to Heidegger, cover-up is the counter-concept of phenomena. Homes are a boundary, our exclusive province for family and friends. But it is this putative screening, selectivity, judgment that also governs state, corporation, art world, nightclub, distinctions of punctiliousness only. Surroundings indicate the quality of aroundness. Shades open, liminal spaces of doors, keyholes, paintings open onto another world, just like bodily orifices. Enclosure cannot be conflated with safety, although oral sex may indicate otherwise. So, my grandmother's legs weep, and there is a backup immune system. Fetishizing anal sex may lead to arousal whenever a bowel movement. Permeability, soma-psychosoma. Bumptiousness need not lead to fascism. By sniffing and sneezing simultaneously, the dog both defines and possesses objects, usually myself. Likewise, when we perceive a being, we define it and so direct it. Occasionally we betray the existence of this magic dust, for example in a concomitant anxiety to our lasciviousness. In a box, on a bench, in a house, on a hill. Home is a nation, a city, a room, sometimes a nest, a body, a head. It's a dream and a meme. Parasites call us home. Our hunger is host manipulation. Our cravings external to us. I is another, a biological formula. Viruses, in the form of jumping genes, cause evolution. Home is people, tribes, intersubjectivity, or solus ipsus. If home is being ourselves, what does this say about society? Has it become that repressive?
my lost paintings, in apophantic terms, fill me with wonder. I hoped the root of the word diary would be D. As in two, division, analysis, which could be related to the split. Folk etymologies only highlight the arbitrariness of language. But it is dies, meaning days. Uncovering days, we get light, the sun. But in other languages, it is a clearing, the opposite of a cover-up. Forked etymologies that loop back on themselves, kind of like an incestuous family tree. Infinite recursion. Derrida might say of grammatology, there is no such thing as coherence. The signified becomes yet another signified. But it is what it is. To simplify this into a diary is to try to control it. Not even I have the right to speak for it. I would love for it to have no use. To just be.
So who the fuck wants coherence? Who wants to be straight? Home is something that needs deconstructing. Open the windows, air it out. Work is usually equated with the negative, whilst home is seen as positive. In my opinion, it is this very ordering that causes a rift in our being in the world, a split in our identity, a life world and a home world, extra energy to our homeostasis. If home hides its hiddenness, the number one commodity worldwide in terms of capital, in the very age of the cover-up that is capitalism, where the business of philosophers has become good philosophical business, being in nothingness still under copyright. Overcoming philosophy is a political statement par excellence. So I found a house to live in with some friends, and I've been agoraphobic for days, and I'm unsure whether it is the fact of the project or the amount of drugs we consumed on New Year's Eve. But I got a message from a friend. All it said was, 2-day hangover, which suggests the latter. Ecstasy causes this temporary schizophrenia, a chemical cause of something that may have biological origins. The barrier effect irrelevant in a time of online porn, a naturalising of oral sex and penicillin, and sparse knowledge of probiotics, even amongst doctors. As the world becomes more cultured food becomes more prevalent. Bacteria, fungi, viruses are even desired. Host manipulation may play a part, but I contend that the buzz of alcohol and our cravings for cocaine are biological. Candida lives within us. Junk DNA is a virus. Bacteria feeds on the energy of ethanol. We are one with the world. But this project has been less about making something known to others than a revealing to myself. Foucault once said that to write is to discover. But if I'm to be critical of myself also, it is that this project is less about the knowledge gained, of which undoubtedly there has been some. More on the formal level, I guess. The appearance of knowledge. A signal to the world that I am a poet. A mating call, if you like. An intimation of homemaking. My family fitness. Tribal creation. It is a reminder to myself that once upon a time I reached a conclusion that was not preordained. That home is a dangerous idea.
All that project's based on lines, balance that containing alibis. Normative discursive patriarchy spans. Yeah. Houses vacant, and I got it for rats. I'm going to walk on goddamn plane. Yeah, yeah. I Wrigley's on cow, caffeinated dope, clofenaramine, codeine, and pseudoephedrine. Reading theory, within the glossy, both consciousness it rains. Reading theory, within the glossy, both consciousness it rains. Put on my suspenders and pretend I ain't no knowledge partner. Speak to the homeless on the street and other things that rise up. Let's just grab them from a good place of love and put my cabbage in. Croupier, croupier, independent. Permeated, simbricated play. Sometimes I call it, sometimes I hate it. Ambivalence is a natural state. Sometimes I call it, sometimes I hate it. We live in a primary state. Yeah. Sometimes I call it, sometimes I fear it. Some are psycho, some are the cultural state. Yeah. We'll lose it all. Wrigley's on cow, caffeinated dope, clofenaramine, codeine, pseudoephedrine. Reading theory, then the glosses, both gone just as they rain. Reading theory, then the glosses, both gone just as they rain.
Are you at home?
Yeah, definitely.
I like to skate. Ow!
Are you at home? Are you at home? Are you at home?
Oh wait, I'll look. It's clear.
Well, it looks like it's another pink moon tonight.